guys, and welcome back to another Mystery Monday video on my channel. I know that my background is different. Well, obviously I know my background's different. I didn't just appear here, but my background's different again. I've been changing backgrounds a lot since I started out my YouTube channel. Right now I'm at my grandparents' house just because it's a lot quieter and I find it a lot smoother to film here. This will not be my permanent background, however. I am working on getting a different background that is more fun to look at, I guess, because this really isn't. But anyways, with that all being said, today's video is going to be another video that is kind of controversial, and it's about aliens. I've been kind of leaning towards those kinds of cases lately, more alien cases that are a little bit more believed to have been a hoax, or where there's more questions being asked, whereas the people who are talking about them are getting more criticism. I don't know really why. That has just been what I'm into lately. So with that all being said, let's get right into today's video. Today we are going to be talking about what is known as the Aztec New Mexico UFO incident, also sometimes known as the other Rosswell. Now, just by the name of this case, you have probably already guessed that this is about a UFO crash that allegedly had taken place in Aztec, New Mexico in 1948. This case is not talked about nearly even close to as much as the Rosswell incident. Obviously, talking about this, it was even hard for me to find a lot of information on this case, but I did think that it was pretty interesting, and I thought that maybe a lot of you guys wouldn't have heard of this case before, so I wanted to share it with you today, even though it isn't quite as big and there isn't as much information. And again, this case is very, very controversial. We'll get more into that around the end of the video. But I still just wanted to share it with you guys because I personally love finding out new information about any single kind of alien case. I like to hear about the ones where people get abducted. I like to hear about the crashes. I like to hear about the books that were written. I like to hear it all. So I thought maybe you guys would want to hear this one as well. So this particular case was said to have taken place in March of 1948 when this alleged flying saucer crashed just outside, I believe, to the north of Aztec, New Mexico. Now, just for some reference, this is about 8 months after the Rosswell incident, although this time it was said that the flying saucer stayed completely intact. However, when investigators got to the inside of the ship, they found the bodies of, I believe, 16 deceased humanoids inside. The ship that was discovered that day is actually said to have been the largest ship that has ever been discovered that is believed to have connection to extraterrestrials to date. So let me just word that a little bit differently because that might have been a little bit confusing for you guys. This is the largest UFO that has ever been discovered to date. And this particular incident was brought to light in 1949 in just a little small magazine article that was written up by a man by the name of Frank Scully. Now, Frank Scully is a very important part of this case, and you will hear me mention his name quite often. He also went on to write a book about this incident in the 1950s called Behind the Flying Saucer. And then in the 1970s, another UFOologist came forward claiming that this crash actually did happen, and they kind of tried to confirm this, but then in 2013 the FBI came forward saying that there was like a written memo saying that this whole incident was a second or third hand claim that was just completely dismissed by the Bureau and was never really investigated, which is why this case is so controversial. But I feel like, again, what I've said in a lot of my UFO videos or my alien videos, a lot of these UFO incidences and the incidences that involve extraterrestrial and abduction, they are highly criticized, and a lot of them are believed to have been a hoax and are believed to be quite controversial. So that doesn't really deter me from talking about a case on this channel. If it is controversial or if there is a lot of speculation whether it's true or not, I still think that they are quite interesting, and it does still make me want to talk about it. That doesn't change anything, but this case, again, is a very controversial one, and it does leave you kind of on the fence, but we'll get more into that. So right now we're going to be talking about Scully. So Scully, again, wrote a book as well as a magazine article about this particular incident. And in both his magazine article as well as his book, he highly credits a man by the name of Dr. G. Now, from article to article that I found online, depending on what side they're taking, whether they think that this case is a hoax or whether they think it's true, they claim that either Dr. G is a real educated person who is a doctor, or they say that Dr. G is just possibly a fabrication of Scully's imagination. Scully described the craft as being exactly 99.99 feet in diameter, which again is the largest UFO that has ever been discovered to date. He also talks about how the craft was covered in this lightweight, shiny metal material that seemed very, very thick, and he said that it almost appeared as if the material that the craft was built out of could never be damaged. And during this crash, again, it didn't appear as if the UFO was damaged. There was no damage done to the outside or the inside of the craft. The only sign that something had gone wrong was the 16 bodies of the dead humanoids that were inside of the craft. In the book, they also talk about how the UFO was disc-shaped and that it had large metallic rings floating around its core, which allegedly was the control bridge. They also said after investigating and looking at this UFO very intently, there was no signs to show where the metal pieces were connected during the building of the craft. It almost appeared as if the craft was one big piece of metal that was formed into this disc ship. Allegedly, those who had found the ship got access to the inside of the ship by pushing a large pole through, I guess, like a hole that they found on the saucer. And once they did this, they found this knob that had previously been hidden. And once they pulled this knob, it opened what appeared to be a secret door, which gave them access to the inside of the ship. And once they were inside, that is when they discovered again the body of the deceased 16 humanoids inside that appeared to have been charred and burned to death by fire. Honestly, I couldn't find too much information about what exactly the aliens looked like. Me personally, being very interested in aliens, I kind of wanted to see if they were, you know, your average grays, or if they were any aliens that are known and widely talked about. But all that I could find online is that these aliens stood anywhere from 36 to 42 inches tall. And after being discovered by whoever had discovered this ship, the alien bodies were allegedly then taken to the Wright-Patterson Air Force Base. So like I keep mentioning over and over, this particular case is highly, highly speculated to have been a hoax. And so allegedly Scully got, I guess, hoaxed by two men, one by the name of Celeste A. Newton and the other by the name of Leo A. Gruber. And it is unknown if Scully had known that he had been hoaxed before writing these books, and if he just thought that this was a good idea and he kept rolling with it, or if Scully was completely unaware that this was a hoax and that these men fooled him into writing these books. A quote that I found within Scully's book that I thought was interesting and that I'm going to be sharing with you now is, "Though I have not the slightest interest in what the military may or may not say about this book, I want the readers to understand my position. I have never seen a flying saucer. I have never had a hallucination that I have seen a flying saucer. I have never joined in any mass hysteria on the subject, and to the best of my knowledge and beliefs, I have never participated in the preparation of any hoax of a flying saucer. I have talked to men of science who told me that they have not only seen them, but worked on several. I have tried to the best of my ability to find flaws in their stories." So to me, that particular statement says a lot. So obviously, talking about aliens, you're going to be questioned by a lot of people. A lot of people aren't going to believe you. There's going to be a lot of controversial topics or people talking about you. There's going to be a lot of backlash, I feel like, no matter what. And it sounds to me like Frank Scully knew that while writing this book, but it also sounds to me like he knew that people were going to be even more highly hesitant to believe what he was saying than they would on average with your other, you know, UFO enthusiast or something like that. And to me, it seems a little bit strange for a man to just pop up with no previous information or knowledge of UFOs or aliens or anything like that, and to get what seems to be quite a little bit of information from just a few men and then go on to write a book about it with completely just secondhand information that you're not sure if there is any concrete proof of at all, just seems a little bit odd to me. Like, I feel like people who usually write books about aliens and UFOs seem to have some sort of concrete evidence backing them up that maybe they can't share with us, but they have personally seen or they claim to have personally seen. Now, that is not me saying that I 100% think this is a hoax. I just personally find that a little bit strange. And I also think that might be another reason why he is so highly criticized for writing this book, as well as the article in the magazine. However, if this case was just cut and clean and it was 100% a hoax and there was nothing to make me question that, then I probably wouldn't have chose to talk about it on this channel. But the reason that I decided to talk about it is because there is a few other people who have come forward with the claims that they have evidence to support that this incident 100% happened, and they don't really have any connection to Frank Scully, and there isn't really any reason why they would want to portray this particular case happening, and why they didn't just jump on the bandwagon of, you know, Rosswell or something that's a little bit more popular and not so criticized. In 1987, a man by the name of William Steinem actually wrote another book about this incident called A UFO Crash at Aztec. And in this book, he talks about how he has concrete proof that this crash actually did happen, although none of his sources could be confirmed. But he claims that this particular crash was verified by 4 separate Air Force bases, and that when they went inside of the ship, there were actually only the bodies of 14 humanoids found on the inside, not 16. And then this case resurfaced yet again in 1998 when a woman by the name of Linda Howe came forward claiming that she had evidence to prove that without a doubt this crash actually happened. But the evidence that she brought forward was examined by government authorities, by the FBI, by a bunch of people, and it was not real, it was faked, and so this didn't prove anything. The most commonly agreed thing about this case is that after Rosswell, people saw how profitable an alien incident could be, and so that is why they started to try and make this case up to kind of profit off of it. Usually in these kinds of cases, I like to give the people who have UFO incidences or were abducted by aliens or claim to have encounters with aliens the benefit of the doubt. I'm not, like, I am very skeptical, but like not, how do I say this? I always want to give them the benefit of the doubt, and I always try and see where they could possibly be coming from, where it could be true or where they believe it. A lot of the cases I obviously believe, or I wouldn't talk about aliens so frequently on this channel, but I just don't know about this one. There seems to be a lot of unsure facts, and it seems like all of the people who are coming forward with this case have an ulterior motive of getting money. I mean, maybe not the last woman, but her proof wasn't real. But, you know, all the books and the magazine articles and things like that seem like it's for people to get publicity, not to actually talk about the fact that there was or wasn't a UFO crash at Aztec. But let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. I would love to know your thoughts on this particular case. But guys, that brings us to the end of this video. I do again just want to really apologize for the background. I keep looking in the viewfinder, and for whatever reason it's really bothering me. And I also think that just for whatever reason, the way that I'm sitting or something, the camera isn't picking me up properly. So if I'm out of view for a lot of this video, I also apologize for that. I'm gonna figure this out. We're gonna get a new background and we're gonna set up the lighting better, and everything's gonna be better at some point, so just be patient with me. But if you like this video, please give me a big thumbs up. Don't forget to comment down below what you'd like to see in my future videos, and don't forget to subscribe and turn on that notification bell so that you don't miss any future videos from me. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye guys!